What's happening, Hardscapers? Day one on a brand new project here, and we've already got some issues. Let's get into this. So this is a small project, and typically what I tell people to do and what I typically myself do is I'll dig some test holes to see where our organics go down to, where we're hitting our subsoil, which allows me to decide whether or not we're going to go synthetic base or a traditional base or open graded base, because synthetic base will save us in our labor, in our digging, especially in these tight access spots, as you can see here. Getting into this backyard is not fun. You also need to consider that with your quote. And for me, I quoted synthetic base without digging those test holes. Come to find out the day before, when I'm setting up the project, I am digging a lot of organic material, even as far as 12 inches. So we're gonna go back to a traditional base. Now, the material cost offsets that labor cost. That's going to cost us more in labor for a traditional base, but less in material cost when bringing in those paver base panel costs. So day one on this project, already off to a rough start. It's a small job. I didn't really think about it, but I should have dug some test holes. You can see that we've already come down about 12 inches across here, and we're still in somewhat organics, getting down to the clay. And here you can see we're down to the clay silty subsoil, and that's what we need to get to build this up. I'd originally quoted this for a synthetic base. We can't do a synthetic base here because, well, we could, it's just a waste of money, because we'll go a traditional base route for this now, being that we're digging down the depth that we would for a driveway, and we'll just build this up as a traditional base and install our natural stone slabs on top of this. But also hitting lots of roots, got some stumps to come out here, which we did kind of know about before. It's just the organics here that really threw us for a loop. Now we are renting a dingo for this project, which we typically have a machine on every project. And then tomorrow we're gonna actually rent out a mini excavator. This is the reason why I like renting, is that I can get the right machine for every project. And in this case, we got very tight access to get into the backyard here, and we can get this dingo on this day and then the mini X on the next day. I could bite the bullet and purchase both machines, but then on some projects I want to get a skid steer, and then do I have enough to get all three machines? It's just a much more flexible thing for me right now in my business to be able to rent a machine for each of our projects. So we're going with the wheelbarrow. My electric wheelbarrow is down right now. I need to get that fixed instead of using the dingo to come through here, because this, you can see my tire marks, track marks, leaving a mark there, and getting through here is actually a waste of time. Instead of just using a little bit more labor to use the wheelbarrow to get through there and take some time off that turn with our machine. A little bit of preface for this job. This came up, we had a little spot open. It was supposed to be only 2 days. The client said that there was a stump grinded down a while back, and I figured we were good to do a synthetic base. Now I usually say with a synthetic base, you want to dig some test holes just to make sure that you're getting the organics out. I dug one, and on this patio, there's one side where we're good for a synthetic base, where we're actually getting down to the clay subsoil. And then the other side is just all organics, about 2 feet down. So this changed my plans completely. This turned from a 2-day job into a 3.5-day job just with that. And then we start hitting stumps. And now that we're hitting stumps, we need to decide what we're gonna do here. In this case, I called my stump guy, tried to get him out. He's completely booked for at least 2 to 3 weeks. I wanna get this job done, so I went out and grabbed a stump grinder, started grinding. And it just kept on going and going. The client actually called the stump removal guy back in this case, and they came out the next day, looked at it, apologized. They should have completely grinded down the stump. The client told them that eventually they would have a patio here. They should have completely ground down the stump or removed the stump as requested. They didn't. They're going to live up to what they promised the client, and they're going to come back the next day to do this. So I stopped doing my stump grinding. I'm just glad that the contractor lived up to what they promised the client in this case. It worked out for the better for me to not have to lug that stump grinder around. It's a small one compared to the project that we're on for these stump removals. There's actually 2 stumps and a major root system. So I did get down to the bottom of the stumps and most of the roots. There's still some remaining pieces, but they're just gonna come in and just destroy the whole thing. And I'm gonna excavate down to the right depth and do a traditional base in this case. We're not gonna do the synthetic base. As you can probably tell, it's not efficient to do it in this case. Added cost just doesn't make sense. We're going to be doing a very deep base for this client. We're going to be doing lots of geogrid in between lifts on this base, so we'll definitely be documenting that and what we do there. We're going traditional, which is a 3/4 inch minus for the base, and then a concrete sand for the top surface, the leveling surface. And the reason why I'm doing that is we're laying tight fit, square cut natural stone. The client doesn't want anything in the joints, so I just want to make sure that they're sitting nicely. And for tight joints anyways, I use concrete sand, so that's the route that we're gonna go with this project. Now, don't judge me on this one. I've never used a stump grinder. I've never had to use a stump grinder. Usually I know there's a stump there, and in this case, I should have known it was 6 inches below the top of the surface, and it was just a mess. And I'll show you what we got into here. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found this entertaining, enjoyable, whatever it might be, please give this video a like. I definitely need it after this one. Comment below any questions that you may have as to what we are doing here. We'll do some follow-up videos with preparing the base and everything that we're doing with that, as well as a project start video, what I do when I start a project and coordinate logistics and everything, especially with a tight access scenario like this is. And subscribe to this YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you so much for watching.